Hey guys. So in today's episode, we are going to be doing a little birthday tribute. August is Arden Yoga and Wellness birthday, and this month we turn 11. And so to honor the journey that we've been on, to honor how far Arden Yoga and Wellness has come over the past decade, I wanted to do a little bit of an origin story. So in our previous episodes, early on in the podcast, I talk about how all of this got started, how I started the business, what the early years of Arden Yoga and Wellness looked like, from behind the scenes in my personal life as a new mom and right out of college, and then how we progressed to where we are now, to being not just a yoga studio, but a full-fledged health and wellness business with a podcast and an array of services. So if you've heard our story before, this will just be a good refresher. And if you haven't heard it, it'll be a good, it'll just introduce you to a little bit of our backstory so you know why and how we came to where we are now. So enjoy, and I will see you in this week's episode. I live in Middle Tennessee. This is where I went to school. This is where my husband's from. And at the time, back in 2012, I had just quit working as a nurse. I was a wound care nurse. And our son, Ori, who is 12 now, he was like 1.5. And I decided, after teaching a few yoga classes at a local gym, the entrepreneur in me, my husband owns his own business, my parents did. I had this thought. I was like, why don't I just teach my own classes? I like this. I have a great grasp of anatomy and physiology because of school, and I personally enjoy doing yoga. I'm going to get to my origin roots of my relationship with yoga in a different episode. But for now, I just thought, why would I not teach my own classes? We don't have that here in Murfreesboro, where I live. And it just seems pretty straightforward. So I start mulling over this idea. I'm 25. It's 10 years ago. I'm 36 now. So I'm doing all these deep dives, and I'm looking online at franchises because, hear my words, y'all, I have formal education in an array of things, and they are all health. They are all human sciences. They are all behavior change. They are very clinical. Had no idea what I was doing. And there weren't a lot of even workout studios where I lived. I'm an hour outside of Nashville, but the town where I live in was very, very small at the time. It's growing, but not a lot of options. There was one yoga studio at the time that was so great. They're closed now. But I wanted to do things just a little bit differently. My style, my focus on anatomy and physiology and the structure of postures and integrating what we know about Western medicine into that was the direction I wanted to go, and I felt really pulled in. And so I reached out to a franchise, and they were at the time, I think, more kind of bar and Pilates focused, but it had yoga in the description. So I was like, maybe I need to do this because this would give me really good guidance. It would give me some community around this idea. Well, through that, I was connected to another female who was starting a very similar idea, but hers was the bar fitness direction. So she and I connected. We both had small children, and we basically looked at each other and we're like, why don't we just share a space? Cut down on overhead, cross referral system, no brainer, right? So the blessing in all of that is both of our businesses exploded. Our classes were waitlisted, and we were sharing a space. And so eventually you run out of class times, right? And you're not going to run your classes at 1 a.m. There's premium time slots. There's times of day that work best with your clientele for practical reasons. And so within under a year, we both needed to get our own studios, and we also needed more space within those studios. So great problem to have. her business was thriving. Mine was doing the same. So right after that, we get pregnant with Willow. So I'm, 26 years old, this new business that I'm still navigating, and have a 2-year-old, and then we're pregnant with Willow. And at the time, the way my business was working was I had started out teaching all of my own classes, all of my own yoga classes. And then it got to the point where realistically, I couldn't teach as much as I was. And I didn't need to be teaching 7 days a week because I was still doing the back end of everything with my business. So I brought in some teachers who were so amazing. A few of them are still my good friends today. And we just kind of kept rolling, moved into another studio that had more square footage because we needed to accommodate more bodies in the studio. And I hit a wall. And I told my husband that I didn't love managing people. I didn't love the way that I had scaled things, that I just really wanted to be with my clients, and I wanted to nurture them, and I wanted to be emotionally and physically and mentally available to walk with them in whatever journey or whatever, I guess, place in their health and wellness journey they were. And I didn't feel like the growth and the way that I was growing in the direction that I was growing with my business was allowing that, or aligned with that, I guess I should say. Something I also forgot to leave out, I was also doing one-on-one health coaching and consulting at the time. So that was another service that I was providing within the Arden Yoga and Wellness umbrella. So I have a conversation, I'm out having dinner with my girlfriend who had started the barre studio. And like I mentioned, hers was exploding, doing so well. She had a great eye for business. She also had amazing teachers that were teaching classes with her and for her. And we were just talking, and I was like, I don't love the teacher part. I want to teach my own classes. I want to be with my clients. I don't love offloading this part. I would much rather offload the business part of it and me still be the provider. And she was like, well, I've got plenty of space in my studio. Why don't you just scale down and come rent my studio? And I was like, oh my gosh, is that an option? It was an option. So went home, told my husband, called my landlord, and just said, I want to get out of our lease a little bit early, and sent out an email to my clients and said, this is going to be the new schedule. And here we are. And at the time, I had acquired this massive, it was equal to my group yoga classes, this private clientele. So I was teaching a lot of private yoga sessions. And the reason for that is I had so many friends and colleagues within the community from my background in healthcare that I was getting a lot of referrals. Keep in mind, this is 10 years ago. There was also a lot of research coming out about the therapeutic benefits of yoga and mindset, and also functional movement. So not specific to yoga, but just that area was starting to get a lot of traction and publications. And so Western medicine was really starting to get on board and feel a lot more confident and comfortable about referring and suggesting that to patients as something in conjunction with Western medicine that could be really helpful for them. So my private yoga clientele was also booming. So around that time, I think, and I could be wrong on these timelines, around that same time is when the kids, Ori and Willow, started kindergarten and preschool. And so the practicality of me, for our family, for me teaching nights and weekends in these group classes did not align with what I wanted for my home life to look like anymore. So I made the decision, through a lot of conversation and just a lot of pros and cons lists, to move my studio into my girlfriend. We'll have her on the podcast at some point. Her name's Dr. Kelly. She's a chiropractor. Into her building. It was closer to the kids' school. The location made sense. And I had this yearning for a while to move into a space that was more clinical, because the way I the way I was leading my clients and working with my clients was not from a fitness standpoint. It was it really was a lot more in the lane of the clinical and therapeutic application of the techniques that I had developed with yoga, mindset, breath work, and then health coaching. So we're trucking along. I've got this really small little studio, held on to some of my group classes, and then eventually I ended up moving to only one-on-one private yoga sessions, which is still where I'm at in the in-person yoga realm. So we're trucking along. Everything's great. And then I don't know if you guys heard, but in 2020, the world stopped. And when you teach one-on-one in-person therapeutic yoga, all of that stops as well. I'm the least tech savvy human being probably on this planet. So is my husband. He still does paper invoicing with his business. And so everything comes to a halt, and I immediately am pivoting all of my clients, like 25 sessions a week, to Zoom. I'd never used Zoom before, but here we are. So converted everything over to Zoom. And during that time, another fun fact, I decided to go back to school. I have to have a lot of continuing education for all of my certifications. And so I decided to go back to school and do a really intentional formal training for health coaching. I'd been health coaching, but I wanted something where I knew I was going to learn a really awesome skill set. I wanted to be with world-class faculty, and I also wanted something that was going to be continuing education credits that I could apply to my other stuff. And so I decided during the time of shutdown to go back to school at Vanderbilt Medical University in Nashville. I live in the area, but everything was online because we weren't doing anything in person. So we bounce back. I keep trucking forward. I'm going through 2 or 3, I think it was maybe 2.5, 3 years total of school, doing some adjunct faculty work with Vanderbilt, doing some teaching at other universities, health coaching, nursing students for their psychology clinicals. I got to work with, who else did we work with at the time? I say we, meaning Arden Yoga. Meharry Medical School, their medical students. I got to help take them through a clinical health coaching program and teach them. So a lot of really cool things during this time, but also during this time of teaching, having to take my entire business online, being back in school and just being in that headspace, it gave me so much insight to see what else I could be doing within my business. And so I developed some online courses and some online therapeutic yoga because everything was shut down. And I just thought, I'm already in front of my computer all the time. Why not do this? And then I also accidentally fell in love with health coaching. It was something that I had set to the side for a really long time because I just didn't have the hours in my schedule. Yoga therapy was such a focus for me for so long because I have, and I still have, my kids are not grown, but at the time they were so little, I only had so much energy to put in one expertise for a while. And so during my time at Vanderbilt, I, again, just fell back in love with health coaching. And so here we are. So fast forward to starting a podcast. A couple years ago, I decided, I guess it was about a year ago, I started working with a business coach because I came to this place of I am maxed out. I can only work with so many people in person because there's only 24 hours in my day. but I want to serve people and I want to be able to help people. And so many people are stuck and lost and confused with their health and wellness and mindset. And they want to live a full life and they want to manage these things on their own and they want to feel empowered, but they just don't know where to start, or they don't know where to get unstuck, or they don't know how to decipher clinical data and all the things that we've done to complicate these conversations and topics so much. And so I worked with a business coach to just help me troubleshoot on and figure out which direction I needed to go to maximize my time. I just held up two thumbs if you're watching the recording. Maximize my time, offer a variety of things and services that can accommodate different levels or different, stages in health and wellness where you're at, and then also different price points. So we've got an array of programs now online for health coaching. We also have a full library of therapeutic yoga. I've taken 10 years of working with thousands of people, all ages, men, women, and just ask myself, what are the main things people see me for? What are the ongoing, consistent conversations that I have with people about their movement and their bodies and their mindset, and put it in a library. So we have that now. But there was still something that I felt pulled towards, and I couldn't figure out what it was. One fun fact about me is I don't love social media. We're on there and hey, I use it. However, my days are pretty maxed out because I'm in the studio most days, or I'm online health coaching on Zoom. And then I'm picking up my two kids and I'm racing to the soccer fields, or we live on a farm. I'm feeding chickens. I just don't have a lot of time. I don't know if that's the correct verbiage. I don't enjoy spending my time on social media. I'm also a long-winded girl, if you can't already tell. 30 seconds is never enough for me to articulate a point or an idea. I can't do it. Then I just get frustrated. So the world of social media is not the best place for me to probably give free knowledge, free insight, and tips and tricks to radically change your life. It's one place, we're on there, and I think we do it well, but I wanted something to where I could give free value and conversations for people, and I needed more time. So you know what? Here we are. We're on a podcast. Is it going to be like Joe Rogan and be 4 hours long? Probably not. However, it gives me more space and time to talk to you guys. So that is where we started, the middle of the story, and now we're to the current place, a podcast. So with that, we're going to wrap up. I have no idea how far we are in on time. I'm still figuring out how to use our new software, but I hope that this gave you a little bit of just information about the origin stories that led up to this. And I just can't wait to talk to you guys some more week to week. I'll catch you later.